What's poppin', y'all? How y'all feeling? How you doing this week? What's good? How your family? How the kids? How's your animals? Your farm alright? Are your crops doing good? Let me know because things are happening. Things are changing. People are growing things. People are doing things. Let me know. I've been on the internet. What is wrong with me? I don't know. But anyway, y'all, if you're new here, my name's Ciara, and this is Self-Made Energy, where we want for nothing because we can manifest anything. This week, you guys, I wanted to make a cute little like bell sleeve top with like a nice mock neck. It was gonna be gorgeous. I ended up turning it into a bodysuit. It could be like, oh my god, I can't even talk. Just so it could be like a little more form-fitting and not just like a baggy top. It came out so perfect. Oh my god, y'all, I can't wait for y'all to see it. And then since I had some extra fabric left over, I ended up making a little crop top just so I can, mix and match. Because, sometimes I'm hot, sometimes I'm cold, sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, It's a lot of ups and downs with me, so you never know what you're going to get. But I made 2 tops in the same fabric just in case I felt like switching it up on y'all. Y'all don't know what I'm going to hit you with. All right, let me stop playing, y'all. Let's get into it because I always play too much. Let's go. Okay, you guys, so this is a close-up of the fabric I'm going to use. It's this really gorgeous, barely pink, like just the slightest pink, floral, stretchy fabric. It's so gorgeous. I don't even know what it's made of. But like I said, I got 3 yards, or maybe I didn't say. I don't know. I got 3 yards. So the first thing I did was cut out all my pattern pieces. So I looked for the biggest bell sleeve pattern I could find in my arsenal, and I just used that to cut out the sleeves. And then I just found a regular basic bodysuit pattern, but if you have a bodysuit that you like the way it fits at home, you can use that as well. Just cut out a front and a back. And I also cut out 2 pieces for the crotch area, one for the front and one for the back, because you are going to need that to attach the straps or the clips or the pins or whatever you're going to close it with at the end of the day. I also cut out 2 pieces for the collar, one for the front and one for the back, because I wanted it to have a little mock neck collar, so I did that as well. And then I just cut out all the notches on the pattern pieces and marked all the places where I needed things to line up with a water soluble marker. And then I moved on to pinning everything together. The first piece I'm going to work on is the back piece, because I did end up cutting it in half because I wanted it to have a seam down the middle. You could just cut it out on the fold and there would be no seam, and then you could skip this part. But if you want a seam down the middle like me, you just pin those 2 back pieces right sides together, right along that middle seam, and just sew along the pins. However, I did want to try a new technique because this fabric is see-through. I did not want to see the seams. So I did end up doing a faux overlock stitch because I don't have an overlock machine. It's just a zigzag stitch across the edge of the fabric, making sure that 1 stitch goes in the fabric and 1 stitch goes outside the fabric, binding the edges inside those stitchings. And it comes out really crisp and clean, and the seam is almost like so skinny it's almost invisible. It comes out so good. So I'm so glad I used this technique. But yes, I ended up doing that on every single seam in this entire piece because the first one came out so amazing. I also went over everything twice just because I was nervous that it was going to pull apart. I didn't trust the steam. The steam? I didn't trust the seam. But anyway, just to catch up with the video because I got sidetracked as always, I just took the front piece and the back piece and placed them right sides together, and I did that same overlock stitch across both shoulder seams. I'm also going to do the same exact overlock stitch to the side seams on both sides of the top, connecting the front and the back, so only the bottom will be free to open and close. Once I was done sewing all of that up, I moved on to the sleeves. So I'm just going to take the sleeves right sides together and pin up that one side seam and do the same overlock stitch up both sleeves. And you're also going to want to keep in mind when you're doing this overlock stitch, if you're working with stretchy fabric, do not stretch the fabric when sewing. You just want to guide the fabric through your machine. You do not want to put any tension on it or it will cause ruffling. And sometimes the ruffling is good. If you want a lettuce hem, pulling on the fabric will create a lettuce hem and it will be gorgeous. But if that's not what you're looking for, if you just want a flat seam, do not put any tension on the fabric. And now I'm ready to attach the sleeves. So I'm going to take the sleeve right side out and I'm going to put it inside the bodysuit so that the right sides are touching. And I'm going to line up that bottom seam with the side seam of the top. And I'm going to pin completely around the entire sleeve. I'm going to do that for both sides. And then I'm going to do the same exact overlock hem around the entire sleeve hole. And again, like I said, I went over everything twice just because I wanted to make sure everything was nice and sturdy, because this fabric is stretchy and I was going to put a lot of tension on it when I put it on and off. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, when I attached the sleeves, I did a regular zigzag stitch around the entire sleeve hole, and then I cut off the excess, and then I did the overlock stitch around the seam allowance just to make sure nothing frayed. But I wanted to make sure the sleeve was extra sturdy because I do a lot of moving. I'm extra like that. Hey you guys, let me interrupt this video because it's just kind of silent here. But also, I have a question. So, in my videos, I do a lot of fast forwarding and speeding through things just because it gets really tedious and pretty boring watching me sew the same thing for an hour. And I don't want the videos to drag on. But there is a time where you need to just be seeing what I'm doing as well. But I don't have words. I don't want to say anything. So there's just a lot of dead air. So do you guys want me to just ramble over that dead air? Or do you want to just listen to some nice calm music? Or would you like me to just clip everything so it's nice and fast and you get the gist of it, but you don't really see the process? There's a lot of ways this could go, and I'm really tossing it up because I want you to see the process, but I also don't have that much to say about the process. I'll bring it down to you, but there's not that many words. I'm not good at words, as I ramble on for a minute about a question that could have took 2 seconds. But anyway, you get the point. Answer me in the comments. Now I'm going to move on to working on the collar. So I'm going to take both pieces of the collar, right sides together, and I'm going to do that overlock stitch up both sides of the seam. Once I was done making the collar, I moved on to attaching that little crotch piece that be in underwear that I don't really know what it's for, but it's always there. So I attached one here as well. But yes, I just took that right sides together and I pinned it up, and I did the same exact overlock stitch that I did everywhere else. And you guys, let me apologize for my voice because I know it's all crackly and it's coming in and out. But I've been like projecting my voice so people can hear me through my mask because my voice is usually very low. So I've been having to yell, and I guess it's putting like a strain on my voice lately because my voice is getting so raspy. It's crazy. But anyway, we'll get over it. Now I have this sexy voiceover voice. Is it sexy or is it creepy? Let me know in the comments. Very interesting. I'm jumping all over the place, as usual. So now I'm moving on back to the collar that I already created but never attached to the shirt. I'm going to attach it now. In order to attach the collar, I just took the collar I made and I placed it right sides together over the neckline of the top, making sure to line up the side seams, making sure everything was nice and even. And I did the same overlock stitch around that entire perimeter. Once I was done with that, I folded the collar up and I folded it back over, and I made sure to line it up with the seam that I just made. And I did the same overlock hem, lining up that zigzag stitch with the last zigzag stitch I made. I hope this is making sense, but I basically just created a tube and I didn't want to make any extra seams, so I just sewed that seam on top of the last seam I did, as you can see here, because words are hard. Once I was done attaching the collar, I was so close to being done with this top. I just need to finish up the leg holes and that crotch. So in order to finish up the leg holes, I just took some elastic and I did not stretch the elastic. I put it the same exact length as the leg hole, and I just did a zigzag stitch across the entire perimeter for both leg holes. Once that was securely in place, I folded it over and did a top stitch across the entire perimeter again, sealing in that crotch fabric as well. Because it is the same shape as the crotch, you will be able to seal it in when you're sewing in the elastic. Once you have that crotch seam secured in place and everything's nice and tidy, you can attach your snaps or hook and eyes or whatever you decide to close yours up with. I decided to close mine up with snaps, so I just hand sewed 3 snaps on each side. Make sure when you're attaching the snaps that you attach one to the front and one to the back on opposite sides of the fabric, so that when it folds over, they can close into each other and you're not having to take it out, because I did attach them wrong the first time. So we're just going to skip right over that part. Make sure you line it up before you sew it on. And lastly, just to give this a little bit of sugar and spice, I actually am going to do a lettuce hem around the entire bell sleeve. And we spoke about the lettuce hem earlier, so it's the exact same thing as the zigzag overlock stitch, but instead you're just going to put tension on your fabric so it creates a nice little ruffle. And that's it. This top is done, y'all. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to making the next top, which I decided to make a little crop top just because I had some fabric left over and I didn't want to waste it. So I figured a cute little crop top would be just perfect. So I used the same exact pattern that I used for the first one. I just made it shorter. I just cut off the bottom so it could be a crop top instead of a bodysuit. So the first thing I'm gonna do is the exact same thing I did for the first top. I'm going to take those 2 back pieces right sides together and do that overlock stitch straight up the back seam, and then I'm going to take the front piece and the back piece right sides together, and I'm going to connect them at the shoulder seams, and I'm also going to connect them down the side seams using the same exact overlock stitch. I do just want to mention again that when you're attaching the seams, you do not want to put any tension on your fabric or it will create ruffles in your seams. Once I was done with the basic construction of the body pieces, I moved on to doing the lettuce hem around the entire bottom of the top. Just to make them a little cohesive since they were the same fabric, I did want them to have kind of the same vibes. Just so I can mix and match them, but it would still be, you know, cohesive if I wanted to mix them with the same pants, or maybe the same kind of shoes, or maybe like jewelry. But the vibe is still the same, so I'll still have that lettucey hem. Once I was done with the hem, I moved on to the shape of the armhole, and I really wish I would have just left the armhole alone, but I thought in my head I wanted it to be a little more t-shirty instead of like vesty, but it still came out cute, but I really wish I would have left the sleeve alone. But anyway, I added in some darts just because boobs make shapes, so I made darts. I didn't know if they were needed or not just because the fabric was stretchy, but I made them anyway. I didn't use any measurements. I just clipped a little piece of fabric, just a tiny little triangle, and just sewed a straight stitch right along that little clipping on both sides. And then I moved on to making bias tape. I just cut strips of fabric that was about 1 inch wide, and I just sewed them together because I didn't have enough to have one long strip. So I just cut a bunch of tiny strips and I attached them together to make one long strip. And I used that same bias tape around the neckline and the armholes. So I just measured around the neckline and I pinned how much I needed, making sure to line up my seams where I could. And I did that same overlock stitch around the entire neckline. In order to attach the bias tape, I just took the tape, right sides together with the fabric, and I did an overlock stitch around the entire perimeter of the neckline. And once I was done, I folded the bias tape up and over the neckline, and then I did another fold to tuck in all the raw edges. So this is enclosing the neck edges and the bias tape edges. And then I just did a top stitch around the entire neckline to close up all the raw edges, and everything would be crisp and clean. Once I was done closing up the neckline, I did the exact same thing for both armholes. So I just cut out some long strips of bias tape and I sewed them together just to make it really long. And then I took those strips and I did the exact same thing as the neck hole. I put them right sides together around the entire armhole, trying to line up the seams where I can. If not, you won't really be able to tell because this fabric has a pattern anyway, so you won't really see the seams, but just try to line them up if you can, just in good practice. And then I just did the same overlock stitch around the entire perimeter. Once I was done, I folded that bias tape up and over the armhole, enclosing all the raw edges, and I did another top stitch around the entire perimeter. Make sure when you're doing this entire process, you do not put any tension on your fabric or it will make ruffles. It will make ruffles. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. If you're making an overlock hem, do not put any tension or you're going to end up with a lettuce hem. It just is what it is. Wow, there's so much dead space here, but I literally already explained to you how to do this, so I'm just gonna put in my little outro here because this top is done. And y'all, I am so in love with both of these tops. They came out so cute, like just a really soft, sweet, feminine vibe. Not too girly, but just girly enough for me, because y'all know I love pink, but pink just takes everything to a child level. So I'm just trying to elevate my pink just so I can be a little bit more sophisticated. And y'all, these tops, ooh, they do it for me. They are so cute, so gorgeous. Let me stop talking. Let's get into it, because y'all gotta see this. Oh my god, you guys, you made it to the end of the video. I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you love these tops as much as I do, because I am fully obsessed with how they came out. I'm so in love. And if you did, make sure to leave a like and a comment and let me know how you feel about it. Let me know what you would have did. Let me know if you would have made any changes. Let me know how you feel about me making the armhole too big and now you can see my bra and it stresses me out, but it's okay. I still love the top even though you can see my bra a little bit. But yes, you guys, make sure you share this video so everybody know what's going on over here. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and definitely click that notification bell so you can know every time I post a video, since I haven't been so consistent lately. But until next time, you guys, I'm wishing you all love, peace, and cupcakes. Bye.